Revlon is an American multinational company dealing in cosmetics, skincare, fragrance, and personal care. The company was founded on March 1st, 1932 in New York City by Joseph Revson, Charles Revson, and Charles Lachman, but in June of 2022, the company filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. So, what went wrong? Could this be game over for Revlon? Well, let's find out. Founding and Charles Revson Control from 1932 to 1975. Revlon was founded in New York City on March 1st, 1932 in the midst of the Great Depression by Jewish-American brothers Charles Revson and Joseph Revson, along with a chemist, Charles Lachman, who contributed the L in the Revlon name. The three men started with one single product, a new type of nail enamel, and pooled their resources to develop a unique manufacturing process. Using pigments instead of dyes, Revlon developed a variety of new shades of nail enamel. In 1937, Revlon started selling the polishes in department stores and pharmacies. In 6 short years, the company became a multi-million-dollar organization. By 1940, Revlon offered an entire manicure line and added lipstick to the collection. During World War II, Revlon curated makeup and related products for the United States Army, which was honored in 1944 with the Army Navy E Award for Excellence. By the end of World War II, Revlon was the #2 cosmetics producer in the United States. Expanding its capabilities, company brought Grief & Schmidt, a cutlery manufacturing seized by the government in 1943 because of German business ties. This acquisition made it possible for Revlon to produce its own manicure and pedicure instruments instead of buying them from outside sources. Stock market. On February 28, 1996, Revlon was listed on New York Stock Exchange's Public Limited Company. The IPO price was $24 per share. Divisions. In the 1960s, Revson segmented Revlon Incorporated into different divisions, each focusing on a different market. He borrowed this strategy from General Motors. Each division had its own target customer. Revlon, the largest and most popular priced brand. Princess Marcella Borghese, upscale and / international. Ultima 2, premium. Natural Wonder Juniors. Moondrops Dry Skin, and Ethria Hypoallergenic. Early acquisitions. In 1957, Revlon acquired Konomark, a shoe polish company, and sold its shoe polish line Esquire Shoe Polish in 1969. Other acquisitions such as Kaidi Bull, the maker of toilet cleansers, and a 27% interest in the Chic electric shaver company were soon discarded. Evan Picone, a women's sportswear manufacturer with a price tag of $12 million in 1962, was sold back to one of the original partners 4 years later for $1 million. However, the 1967 acquisition of the U.S. Vitamin and Pharmaceutical Corporation made Revlon a leader in diabetes drugs. The company began to market its products overseas at the end of the 1950s. By 1962, when Revlon debuted in Japan, there were subsidiaries in France, Italy, Argentina, Mexico, and Asia. In Japan, Revlon used its basic US advertising and models instead of adapting its advertisements and using Japanese models. Sales for 1962 came to $164 million. In 1968, Revlon introduced Interna 27, the first cosmetic cream with an estrogen precursor called pregnenolone acetate, and fashion designer fragrance Norman Norell. Later, Revlon launched Braggy, Pub and Bell Blast for men, and a line of wig maintenance products called Wig Wonder. In 1970, Revlon acquired the Mitchum line of deodorants. In 1971, Flex shampoo and conditioner were introduced. In 1973, Revlon introduced Charlie perfume, aimed at people under 30, promoted by model Shelley Hack, wearing trousers. After the introduction of Charlie, Revlon's net sales figures were $506 million in 1973 and $606 million the following year. Shelley Hack appeared on Oprah in 2007 to talk about the power of Charlie advertisements. John 2 perfume was also sold well. Revlon also owns a perfume brand, Jean Nate. The company bought Elizabeth Arden in an $870 million deal in 2016. Models. In 1973, model Lauren Hutton signed an exclusive modeling contract agreeing to pose for Revlon's Ultima line for $400,000 for 2 years and was portrayed on the cover of Newsweek. Richard Avedon was signed on as the exclusive photographer for the brand. Michael Bergerac controlled from 1975 to 1985. In 1975, Charles Revson died. Charles Revson died. Michel Bergerac, whom Revson has hired as president of the company, continued to expand the company's holdings. Revlon acquired Coburn Optical Industries, an Oklahoma-based ophthalmic and optical processing equipment and supplies manufacturer. Barnes Hind, the largest U.S. marketer of hard contact lens solutions, was bought in 1976 and strengthened Revlon's share of the eye care market. Revlon purchased Armour Pharmaceutical Company, a division of Armour and Company from the Greyhound Corporation in 1977. Other acquisitions included the Lewis Howe Company, makers of Tums antacid, in 1978. These healthcare operations helped sales figures surpass the $1 billion mark in 1977, bringing total sales to $1.7 billion in 1979. In the mid-1980s, Revlon lost ground to Estée Lauder, and Armour Pharmaceuticals' hemophilia products factory infected many people worldwide with HIV and hepatitis C. Estée Lauder spent millions of dollars on numerous magazine ads featuring Czech supermodel Paulina Porzikovo, shot by famed Chicago fashion photographer Viktor Skrbsky. Revlon shares dropped from 20% to 10% of department store cosmetic sales. Sales at the drugstore also declined as Revlon lost shares to Noxell's CoverGirl brand. Revlon compensated with more acquisitions. Max Factor, Alan Betrix, Charles of the Ritz, Germain Montet, Almay, Fermodal, Lancaster, Aziza, and Halston. The 1977 acquisition of Carlos Colmer, a Spanish professional beauty supplier distributor, brought Fermodal and Rue and helped introduce Revlon to the world of ethnic care. Creme of Nature, Realistic, Lovely Color, and Milk and Honey. In 1983, the company attempted an unsuccessful hostile takeover of Gillette. In 1989, Revlon became one of the first companies to replace animal tests with alternative safety testing methods. Ronald Perelman controlled since 1985. On November 5, 1985, at a price of $58 per share, totaling $2.7 billion, Revlon was sold to Pantry Pride, later renamed the Revlon Group Incorporated, a subsidiary of Ronald Perelman's Mac Andrews and Forbes. The buyout, engineered with the help of junk bond king Michael P. Milken, saddled Revlon with a huge $2.9 million debt load, which became an albatross around the company's neck for years to come. Pantry Pride Incorporated offered to buy any or all of Revlon's 38.2 million outstanding shares for $47.5 a share when its street price stood for $45 a share. Initially rejected, he repeatedly raised his offer until it reached $53 a share while fighting Revlon's management every step of the way. Frostman, Little and Company swooped in at $56 a share. A brief public bidding war ensued, and Perelman triumphed with an offer of $58 a share. Perelman paid $1.8 billion to Revlon shareholders, but he also paid $900 million of other costs associated with the purchase. Perelman filed suit with the Delaware Court of Chancery to force Revlon to accept Perelman's offer, and the resulting appellate decision, Revlon versus Mark Andrews and Forbes Holdings, was a landmark case in determining the obligations of the public company directors in hostile takeovers situations under Delaware law. Perelman had Revlon sell 4 divisions. 2 for $1 billion, the Vision Care Division for $574 million, and the National Health Laboratories Division, which became a publicly owned corporation in 1988. Additional makeup lines were purchased for Revlon. Max Factor in 1987 and Betrix in 1989, later sold to Procter & Gamble in 1991. Also in 1991, Revlon sold the Clean and Clear brand to Johnson & Johnson. In 2011, PETA removed Revlon from other high-profile cosmetic brands from its list of companies who do not test their products on animals after the organization learned they were paying Chinese laboratories to test their cosmetics on rabbits and other animals. In August 2013, Revlon Consumer Products Corporation bought the Colomer Group from CVC Capital Partners, a private equity firm, for $660 million. After suffering business loss in 2011 and 2012, at the end of 2013, Revlon announced that it will exit the Chinese market, which employs 1,100 people. The business in China accounted for just 2% portion of net sales of Revlon's international operations. On November 1st, 2013, Revlon named Lorenzo Dal Pina as president and CEO. In March 2014, Revlon announced leaving Midtown to relocate headquarters to the top 2 floors of One New York Plaza. On September 22nd, 2014, Revlon's board of directors elected Roberto Simon as Executive Vice President and Chief Financial Officer, effective as of September 30th. On April 30th, 2015, Revlon completed the acquisition of UK-based fragrance management company CB Beauty, including its UK distributor SAS and Company. On June 16, 2016, Revlon announced its intention to purchase its competitor, Elizabeth Arden Incorporated, for $870 million. The acquisition was completed on September 7, 2016. Revlon also acquired Cutex from Coty Incorporated in 2016. The company announced on January 29, 2017, that CEO Fabian Garcia would leave the company at the end of February. Board member Paul Mester would become executive vice chairman of the board and run the day-to-day operation. A quarterly report from the end of 2017 estimated its quarterly loss falling approximately between $60 million and $80 million. In May 2018, the company announced the appointment of Deborah Perlman, the daughter of Ronald Perlman, to the position of Chief Executive Officer. She will be the first ever female CEO of the company after serving as COO starting in January 2018 and serving on the board since 2015. In January 2019, Seeking Alpha published an article regarding trading anomalies on the Revlon stock REV. It is under investigation. In August 2020, American bank Citi wrongly wired $900 million to creditors of Revlon. The wire sparked a protracted legal fight. In October of the same year, the bank was fined for $400 million by the U.S. bank regulators as a result of their risk and control systems and was ordered to update their technology. On September 28, 2021, the UK's Infected Blood Inquiry heard evidence about Armour's use of hemophilia treatment products during the 1970s and 1980s, which caused hepatitis C and HIV infections, including its period under the control of Revlon Healthcare. Bankruptcy protection. On June 16, 2022, Revlon filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection after struggling with debt, rising competition, supply chain challenges, and falling behind evolving beauty standards. A few hours after the bankruptcy announcement, Revlon shares lost more than 13% of their value. According to a filing with the U.S. Bankruptcy Court for the Southern District of New York, Revlon listed assets and liabilities between $1 billion and $10 billion. Revlon, which had been managed by Perlman's daughter Deborah Perlman since mid-2018, had long-term debt of $3.31 billion as of March 31st, 2022. The company narrowly avoided bankruptcy in 2020 after restructuring its debt. It was one of the last remaining holdings of Ronald Perlman. Bloomberg reported that the company's bankruptcy process could be complicated by financial controversies. MarketWatch quoted industry analysts and commentators as saying that bankruptcy would allow the firm a chance to refresh and regroup as it attempts to compete with the newer brand, like Kylie Cosmetics or Fenty. CNBC reported that Revlon's bankruptcy might be the start of broader bankruptcy problems for the retail sector. It was delisted from the NYSE on October 21, 2022. In December of 2022, Revlon announced plans to raise $650 million in equity and transferring majority of the ownership to senior leaders. The company also announced plans to wipe out the interests of Ron Perlman by striking an agreement with creditors to give lenders and bondholders ownership of the bankrupt cosmetics maker. On February 2023, Revlon launched a lender settlement that would allow the company to exit bankruptcy by April. And there's the history of Revlon. So, what went wrong? Well, if we look at what happened back in 1985, when Ronald Perlman took over the company, there was a lot of crazy stuff that happened. And a lot of that caused Revlon to go downhill shortly after all the things that Ronald Perlman had done to the company. So, could it be game over for them? Well, since the bankruptcy was not too long ago, there is a possibility that it could just be game over for Revlon. But if things tend to improve for Revlon, they might have a chance for survival. Anyway, this is where I'm going to end off this video. If you guys haven't enjoyed this video, please make sure to like button. And also, don't forget to subscribe to get videos every single day. And also, don't forget to subscribe and ring the notification bell on my second channel. My second channel will be linked down below, along with all my social media accounts, including my Instagram, where you can send me fan art. All of those social media accounts, and my second channel will be linked down below once again. And until then, I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.